Welcome to our session. We'll talk a little bit about Cloud Ops Suite today. I'm sure everyone was at the keynote this morning and heard about Cloud Ops Suite, but we'll dive a little deeper into it, talk about what it is, and then we have a demo at the end. I left some cards on the front chairs here. Didn't have enough for everybody, but they're just letting everyone know that there is a Cloud Ops hub where you can go. It's in room 15 here downstairs. The creator of Morpheus is in there roaming around, so if you want to meet David, you can do that. And there's some hands-on labs and just people to talk to about Cloud Ops. And of course, we have our booths on the showroom floor. We can talk more about Cloud Ops, or if you want to dive deeper into Morpheus, Enterprise, OpsRamp, or Zerto, just feel free to stop by one of those booths and we can do that. So let's get rolling. I'm sure you've seen this slide a number of times today, but we may have some forward-looking statements in this conversation. I don't have any slides that are forward-looking, but if I do say something and it doesn't come to fruition, you can't hold it against me. So now I'm covered. All right, so scaling the hybrid operating model. So show of hands real quick. How many folks in the room have a hybrid environment, right? How many folks are running public cloud, private cloud, mixture of both? So the majority of the room. When we talk to customers, they're either looking at it or have already implemented a hybrid environment, right? So in our case, in this research, it's 90% of customers. How many folks that didn't raise your hand are looking at moving to a hybrid environment? 0. Okay. So it's a little less than 90% in this room, but it's Europe. I know there are a lot of sovereignty rules here and regulations, so it makes sense. Because a lot of our customers are implementing hybrid environments, or not, most of our customers, the vast majority of our customers, are using a lot of tools, element tools, monitoring tools, various tools that different people like to observe what's going on in the environment. This research says 8 tools. I'm the OpsRamp guy, so when I talk to folks, it's many, many more tools than that that they're using. A lot of customers are using a lot of tools. I think most people in here would agree with that. And then the majority of organizations have or will be impacted by ransomware very soon. If you haven't already been impacted, I won't ask for a raise of anybody to raise their hands on that one. So as we start thinking about the cloud operating model, we have to look at the hyperscalers, right? And when you look at the hyperscalers, they knew in order to scale their environments, they were going to have operational excellence, right? Whether it's reliability, security, performance, right? They have to be really, really good at that so that you will hopefully become their customers and really stay their customers long term, right? So as we're looking at creating a hybrid operating model here at HPE and actually implementing a solution to do that, when we're thinking about that operating model with GreenLake, we're taking that operational excellence kind of to the next level, both on premises and in the hyperscalers, right? So, and combining that. So SLO-driven observability experience, giving you the ability to meet those objectives and requirements by your customers, reducing your MTTD and MTTR, mean time to detection and resolution, by using AI, statistical math as well on the OpsRamp side, coupled with ML and AI to solve those problems. And then we really want to break down the silos across all of those teams, and we'll dive into that here a little bit. Excuse me. I did not bring any water up here, but okay. So typical challenges to address, right? If you look at the right-hand side, you've got all of these teams in a lot of IT organizations, right? You have an app team, you have a security team, maybe a compliance team, maybe a FinOps team, or a combination of those. Some of those teams may be, excuse me, joint across those teams. What that has created is a fragmented workload for the operations across your traditional and your hybrid environments. So when you're using all of those different tools across all of those different teams, now you're limiting the context that you have because those tools aren't sharing information, right? So that causes blind spots. You really can't see what's going on from the security side to the network side to the compute side or storage, just the list goes on. Cloud-native AI workloads have really introduced a new level of complexity in these environments as well, right? We've started with traditional, that was fairly simple. We moved to cloud-native. Now we've layered additional workloads with AI on top of that. And again, that just adds new complexity to the environment. That then creates too much actionable data, right? So if you think about if each of these teams has, let's say, 3 tools that they're using to observe their environment, think about all the alerts, all the events, all the logs that are coming in from all of these infrastructure pieces and application pieces. You know, it's almost impossible, if not impossible, to look at that and take meaningful action based on those alerts. You really need something that is going to help correlate those alerts, give you actionable insights into the environment. And the manual approaches, as people have started to look at that, thank you for the water, doesn't really work, right? It takes too long. You can't look at all of that data. And again, you maintain those silos across there. Excuse me. There we go. All right, so keys to kind of fix or address some of those problems. The first thing is unified visibility. You need at least one tool that can connect to all of these other tools and pull in that information and give you a unified view of what's going on in the environment. If you don't, you can't break down those silos and reduce that mean time to detection and resolution. Advanced automation orchestration. You need to be able to remediate the issues when you see them, right? You need to be able to ensure that when you roll out an application, that application is protected, it's placed on the right infrastructure without having to worry about configuring that on an individual basis, right? I don't want to have to worry about learning the AWS networking commands versus the Google Cloud networking commands versus the Azure networking commands. I need a tool that's going to automatically do that for me as I'm rolling out an application. Integrated governance and security, right? I can't be dependent across all of these tools, all of these teams to do that governance, ensure that my configurations haven't drifted, et cetera, and ensure that I have all of my security done and everything is compliant. It needs to be robust and scalable, right? If we implement a tool and it doesn't scale with your workloads, whether it's scaling up or scaling down, it's useless to you because it's not going to work, right? And then it's going to take some skills and cultural shift, right? Breaking down these silos, we call, in the OpsRamp world, we call a lot of the folks that don't want to give up these tools, tool huggers, right? They love what they use, but in reality, a lot of people have been using some of these tools for a very long time. They're very efficient with them. However, all of these other issues come up because those specific tools aren't sharing the information with everything else. So if we implement those 5 keys or tenets, right, we can get to one hybrid operating model. And we believe that with Cloud Ops Suite and GreenLake, we are able to get to that single hybrid operating model within your environment. We can break down those silos across the teams within IT, across your service providers, if you are using service providers coupled with your IT department, right? We can give views to all of these tools or this information to those teams. It's going to have to work for traditional workloads, cloud-native workloads, as well as AI workloads. Full stack view across all of these teams and across all of these vendors, right? So we can't be locked in to a single vendor. You know, one of the biggest questions that we get on the OpsRamp and Morpheus side is, well, are you only going to support HPE in the future? And the answer is no. HPE bought OpsRamp, they bought Morpheus to support every vendor in the market, right? So OpsRamp specifically has over 3,000 integrations with third-party vendors that we can integrate with their tools, your ITSM, your CMDBs, whatever it is, we can integrate with it. And if we don't have it, we can build it. Morpheus takes a similar tact, right? If it has an API, Morpheus can integrate with that, right? So, and then of course, Zerto, it runs on top of whatever you want it to run on top of. So there's no issue there. We want to give you the ability to go from day 0 to day N, seamlessly using a single tool set, providing all of the context, providing all the information that you need to be able to do what I like to call the verbs there at the bottom, right? Whether you are only doing discovery and only worrying about that, or you're doing discovery and security, or anything in between, right? We want to give you the choice to be able to do what you need to do in the manner that you need to do it across whatever platform and runtime that you want to do it on, right? So with operational intelligence, management and control, we give you the ability to provision, observe, and protect your workloads, starting at the application layer all the way down to your physical infrastructure at the bottom. CloudOps Suite. If you saw the magic that Antonio did this morning with the GreenLake provisioning, the GreenLake intelligence, the power behind that is CloudOps Suite software, right? It's OpsRamp doing the GreenLake intelligence on the back end, providing that information into the GreenLake platform. It's Morpheus Enterprise providing those provisioning capabilities into the GreenLake platform. Zerto is there for data protection, right? So for those customers that may not be GreenLake customers yet and are looking at that down the road, but they want to implement these software tools today, we have the CloudOps Suite, which is a bundle that allows you to get all 3 of these tools with a single SKU, right? We can implement those for you sorry, that's on another slide, but yeah, we can implement those for you. We can help you manage it and provide that as a managed service if that's something that you're interested in as well. So Morpheus, how many folks are interested or are current Morpheus customers? How about VME? Okay, perfect. So Morpheus Enterprise is pretty awesome, in my humble opinion. The way I like to describe it to customers is, if I have an application that I want to deploy, right, I don't want to have to worry about running all of those commands and APIs underneath the covers. I want a tool that is going to help me deploy my application across the hybrid cloud, whether it's running in the public cloud, on premises, or a mixture of both. I need a tool that can obfuscate all of the workings that are going on in the back end, right? So as I mentioned earlier, for those hybrid cloud customers or prospects in the room, you know, running and creating a network or a virtual infrastructure resource in Azure is a completely separate API and set of commands from AWS. Well, with Morpheus, if I want to deploy an application across AWS, Azure, and on-prem, I just click an order button, and it goes and does all of that magic for me, whether the virtual infrastructure is set up already or not, right? Morpheus can integrate and do that work for me. OpsRamp. Our agentic AI co-pilot is going to give you the ability to automatically remediate any issues that come up in your environment, right? It's going to bring in all of those signals from all of those tools. I mentioned the 3,000 plus integrations, provide context across all of those tools, the entire stack, again, whether it's traditional cloud native or AI workloads, right? We're going to look at that from there, from the top of the stack all the way to the bottom. We can even look at your power infrastructure if that's something you want to monitor as part of that stack, right? So, and everything in between. We're going to reduce the alert noise, predict, and help you prevent issues down the road. So we do have seasonality analytics built into the platform. So if every October, or we'll take an American Example, Black Friday, right? If I know Black Friday is coming the day after Thanksgiving and my shopping resources for my applications go through the roof, I need to go ahead and pre-allocate resources. OpsRamp is going to warn you about that seasonality that's happening in the environment, let you take action. You'll be able to do that via AI in the near future, or using our automation capabilities coupled with Morpheus, if that's something you want to do as well. And again, helping you break down those silos. Zerto, right? Continuous data protection protects your workloads no matter where they're running, and ensure that you're able to get those workloads back up and running within your recovery time and recovery point objectives that you have set. Right? One example, POC that we did this summer with Zerto, OpsRamp, and Aruba, actually, the Aruba 10K was Zerto detected a ransomware event. It sent an alert over to OpsRamp. Through our automation, we then connected into the 10K. Through micro-segmentation in the 10K, we isolated that workload so that it could not impact anything else going on in the environment, right? And we can do that. We can do a mixture of really almost anything you can dream of, as long as an API is available. So just an example of some fairly simple integration that we were able to do just via straight up APIs and automation between Zerto, Aruba, and OpsRamp. So we want to ensure that you're successful along the way, right? We want to consult with you day -1, right? So before you decide you want to implement this solution, we want to come in, help you understand the use cases that you want to address that are going to meet your business needs, and we're going to be with you throughout that entire life cycle. So we're going to help you implement these solutions. We're going to turn you over to customer success after those solutions are implemented, and continue to work with you as you create your center of excellence, as well as continue to educate you on any changes that are happening, any updates, any advances within the platforms. All right, so with Cloud Ops Suite, we're going to get to the demo here in a second. We're going to help you reduce that tool sprawl, really lower your TCO, and of course reduce those silos, which reducing those silos is going to do everything else as well, right? So let's dive into the demo. We're doing great on time. All right, so in this demo, we've put together a Morpheus and OpsRamp environment. We've got some Zerto shown in here as well. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to provision a VM with some advanced operating system configuration, as well as an application deployment. So we're going to deploy a Linux VM with Nginx running a website, right? All through Morpheus. We'll just click the order button. Then we're going to automatically install the OpsRamp agent, register it with the SaaS platform. Then we're going to set up the monitoring templates automatically. All this is through Morpheus. We're going to set up the monitoring templates, which is something you would normally do after the VM is deployed, but we're going to do it automatically for both Linux and Nginx, and begin monitoring that VM and workload automatically. We'll show the Zerto integration and how you can integrate Morpheus with Zerto so that those VMs and workloads and applications are protected automatically. We'll talk about the synchronization of the custom, I misspelled that, custom VM attributes, and we're pushing those into OpsRamp to provide additional context. From there, we'll jump over into OpsRamp. We'll look at our automated alerting and remediation task approval flows and how that's going to flow into Morpheus. We'll see that we're running out of disk space on our VM. We need to add some more, another disk or another data store to that VM. We're going to do that automatically through our automation engine, calling Morpheus to do that action. And then we're going to talk a little bit about patch compliance in OpsRamp, which is a capability that we've had for a very long time, but you can patch your Windows and Linux operating systems utilizing OpsRamp. And then we'll talk a little bit about logging, right? At OpsRamp, we want to turn your logs and your information into metrics so that we can then help you take action when meaningful information is pulled from those logs. All right, let's dive into the first half here. So here we're in the Morpheus interface. We're going to go up to our provisioning, jump down into our catalog. We've got our monitored megadata website that we want to place an order for. And we can see that in the description we've put in there, it's just a catalog item that we want to deploy a website, the megadata website, version 1 with Nginx Linux monitoring templates automatically attached to OpsRamp, and we're going to push those attributes so that we can remediate it later. So we click the order button. We'll jump over into our instances window. You'll see we've got 4 of these going right now. We've got 2 running in the environment. We've got a 3rd that has stopped. It's showing some health issues. And then you can see there at the bottom are the one that we just deployed. And the status is rocket ship because it's provisioning, right? So we'll click on that, jump over into the detail screen, and we can see the steps that Morpheus is taking as it's deploying that VM. So it's deploying the virtual machine. We'll jump over into history, and we can look at all of the steps that it has already done. Drop that down. We can see that it's moving along, and here we've completed the provisioning, and it's now showing up over in OpsRamp. This is the OpsRamp view. We can click on that, view a few attributes of that, but now we want to go kind of see how we made that magic happen, right? So we jump over into our automation screen, search for OpsRamp, and here we just have a bash script that is going to, again, go install that OpsRamp agent, pull the attributes out of Morpheus, and apply those attributes into OpsRamp as custom attributes. So we'll jump back over into Morpheus, click on backups, integrations, and we want to add Zerto. So we'll click on that. And here, to do that, we just give it a name, give it the API URL for our Zerto instance, give it the credentials we need, give it a client ID, and set the visibility, right? So from there, once I have my backup provider for Zerto set up, I can now ensure that my applications are automatically protected when they're deployed, should you check that box when you're creating the catalog item. All right, so we've done that top half. Now let's jump down into the bottom half, and we'll talk about OpsRamp and our automation, how we're doing that with Morpheus. So here we'll jump into our attributes for the Megadata Web 04. We can see the standard attributes there at the top that we're collecting from Morpheus. And then at the bottom here, we have all of our custom attributes that are script added into the environment. Specifically, in what we're really concerned about here is our data store custom attribute. We'll jump over to the metric screen. Now we'll jump into our availability rule, where we will dive into and look at our specific disk usage availabilities, right? So we're going to set a rule here for less or equal to 5% available, we want to send an alert, right? So we'll jump over into our process automation screen, jump into our process that we've created. And here we can see OpsRamp is, we see a disk alert come in there on the left. We're going to get those alert details, and then we're going to send an approval email, right, to whomever it needs to get it to approve the ticket that it needs to be resolved, and we'll move forward with the process. We can see a 1 there because we have 1 alert stating that it's ready. So here's the email. We'll click on the link. We'll jump over into the ticket inside of OpsRamp. Oh, by the way, we have a ticketing system if you want to use it. And here we've got who requested it, what the status of it is. We'll jump back over into Morpheus, jump into our storage section. We can see that we only have a single disk assigned. So we'll go ahead and approve this, drop it down, and submit it as resolved. Click submit. The task has been updated. You can see the 1 is gone now. Now we're going to move through the rest of that process, connecting via API over into Morpheus, adding another disk to that or data store to that VM, and that alert will be resolved, right? So we'll jump back over into OpsRamp. You can see that this specific VM needs 304 patches, right? You can select them individually there, but instead we're going to jump over into patch management. We can see how many of the VMs have been scanned. All of our mega data web VMs have been scanned. We haven't applied any patches yet. To do that, we've set the baseline. That's how we know there's 304 that are needed. We can jump into the compliance screen, assign those specific patches that we want to assign. It'll go off and do that in real time, or you can schedule that. And then for logs, right, we just simply connected into Morpheus, and now Morpheus is sending us all their syslog information, right? From there, we can take action on anything that we see as part of those logs. We can make a metric out of to then take action on long term, right? So that's just a real quick and simple demo of some of the integrations that we're able to do just via a simple API. One thing that I did want to leave you with is we are working on deeper integrations across all of these tools. So as we're coming out and talking to y'all at this show and maybe hopefully in person, talking about this, we want to hear your feedback on what you would like to see in Cloud Ops Suite, right? And we can pass that along to PM and engineering, and they can implement exactly what you need, right? Stefan Bernosen is going to be at the Meet the Expert session tomorrow at noon, so make sure you stop by and meet with him. As I mentioned earlier, we've got Morpheus Enterprise demo, 2 OpsRamp demos. We have a Cloud Ops Suite station where we can talk more about that, and then of course we're on the socials, so come talk to us there. Please provide your feedback. We'd love to hear it, good or bad, hopefully all good. Yeah, please submit your survey.